Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Daily English Lab podcast. You've been studying for months, maybe even years. You've memorized grammar rules, you've got a vocabulary list a mile long, you can read articles and pretty much understand movies. You have all the pieces. But then the moment comes to actually speak. You open your mouth, and what comes out just feels awkward. It feels clunky. It doesn't sound like the English you hear in your head. There's this gap, a frustrating, confidence-crushing gap between the English you know and the English you can actually speak. What if I told you that gap has almost nothing to do with your intelligence, your memory, or how many grammar books you've read? What if I told you the problem isn't in your brain? It's in your mouth. Speaking English is a physical activity. It requires muscles in your tongue, your lips, your jaw to make shapes and movements that are probably completely new to you. Shapes your native language never asked you to make. You wouldn't expect to play the violin just by reading a book about it, right? You have to train your fingers. Speaking is no different. And today, I'm going to show you a simple, powerful 10-minute workout that will retrain your mouth, build that muscle memory, and finally close that awkward gap for good. This isn't about learning more words. This is about teaching your body how to say them. Let's talk more about this awkward gap, because if you're watching this, I bet you felt it. It's that little hesitation before you speak. It's the feeling that your tongue is tied, that it's too slow or clumsy to make the sounds you want. You hear a native speaker say a sentence, and it's smooth, effortless, like music. Then you try to say it, and it feels like trying to run through mud. Each word is a separate, difficult step. So why does this happen? It's because every language has its own unique physical settings. It has a default position for the tongue, a certain tension in the jaw, and a specific way of using the lips. When you learned your native language as a kid, you spent years unconsciously training these muscles. They became experts at making the sounds of your mother tongue. Your mouth is a world-class athlete in speaking your language. But English demands a different kind of athleticism. It might require your tongue to go to a place it's never been, like between your teeth for the "th" sound. It might ask your lips to round and push forward in ways they never have. It might need your jaw to open wider than you're used to. Because you haven't built up this specific physical skill, your brain sends the right signal, say the word through, but your mouth, like an untrained muscle, fumbles the execution. It does the closest thing it knows how, which is usually a sound from your native language. This is where the problem gets worse. If you just keep practicing speaking without fixing these physical habits, you're actually just reinforcing the mistakes. You're training your muscles to do the wrong thing over and over. This is called fossilization, where incorrect pronunciation gets so locked in that it feels normal, and changing it becomes incredibly hard. It's why some people can live in an English-speaking country for 20 years and still have a very strong accent. They're not practicing English pronunciation. They're practicing their native language's version of it. Think of it like this. Imagine you're a dancer trained your whole life in classical ballet, with its rigid posture and precise movements. Now, someone asks you to dance samba. Samba is fluid. It's all in the hips. It's relaxed and bouncy. If you try to dance samba using your ballet training, it's going to look stiff, awkward, and just plain wrong. You have the rhythm, you have the desire, but your body's muscle memory is fighting you. To learn samba, you have to retrain your body. You have to do drills that isolate those hip movements and teach your body a new way to move. That is exactly what we need to do for your English pronunciation. We need to stop focusing only on the mental part, the words and grammar, and start doing targeted physical exercises to build the right muscle memory in your mouth. We need to teach your mouth how to dance the samba of English. So, how do we start this physical training? The answer is a technique that sounds simple but is incredibly effective. It's called shadowing. Now, you might have heard of this, but most people get it wrong. Shadowing is not just listening and repeating. That's a basic classroom drill. Shadowing is listening and speaking at almost the exact same time. You become the speaker's echo, their shadow. You're not just repeating the words. You're copying everything about their speech. You're copying their pronunciation of every single sound. You're copying their intonation, the music of their voice, how it rises and falls. You're copying their rhythm, the beat and stress of their sentences. You're even copying the pauses and the way words blend together. When you just listen and repeat, there's a pause. In that pause, your brain has time to interfere. It defaults to its old, comfortable muscle memory. But with shadowing, there is no time to think. You're forced to bypass that analytical brain of yours and just imitate. You are training your mouth to move in sync with a native speaker, forcing it to make the right sounds in real time.
Let's break down why this works so well. First, pronunciation and clarity. Shadowing forces you to tackle the sounds you struggle with. You can't avoid them. As you mimic a native speaker, your tongue, lips, and jaw are physically practicing the correct movements over and over. This is a direct physical workout for your mouth. Second, intonation and rhythm. This is the music of English, and you can't learn it from a grammar book. Is a speaker's voice going up for a question? Is it going down for a statement? Which words are they stressing? This musicality is critical for sounding natural. Shadowing is the best way to internalize this music because you're not just learning about it, you're singing along. Third, fluency and connected speech. Native speakers don't talk like robots with a space between each word. They link words. Going to becomes gonna. Did you becomes did you. Shadowing trains you to hear and make these connections naturally. It smooths out your speech, helping you go from speaking word by word to using fluid, connected phrases. Finally, and maybe most importantly, confidence. That awkward feeling comes from uncertainty. You're not sure if you're saying it right. Shadowing removes that doubt. You're practicing with a correct model. Every minute you spend shadowing, you're building a library of correctly pronounced words and phrases in your muscle memory. This creates a deep physical confidence. When it's time for a real conversation, your mouth already knows what to do. The hesitation disappears because the skill is there. Think back to our dancer. Shadowing is like dancing with a professional instructor right beside you, and your only job is to match their every move. You're not guessing. You're physically absorbing their technique until it becomes your own. This isn't a passive mental exercise. It's an active, focused, physical discipline. The best part about this is that it doesn't require hours of study. Consistency is way more important than how long you do it. 10 focused minutes a day is enough to completely rewire your pronunciation. But they have to be the right 10 minutes. Just turning on a video and mumbling along won't work. The biggest mistake people make is practicing on autopilot. So, here is your structured 10-minute workout. Think of it as your daily trip to the pronunciation gym. Step 0. The mindset before you start. First, let's get your head in the game. This is a workout, not a test. You're not being graded. The goal isn't perfection on day 1. The goal is imitation. Don't get frustrated if you miss a word or stumble. It doesn't matter. Just like in a workout, you don't stop if one rep is shaky. You keep going. Focus on the physical feelings. What is your tongue doing? How are your lips moving? Where is the stress? Embrace the feeling of it being a little strange. That feeling is the sign of progress. Step 1. Choose your material. The first 30 seconds. Okay, start the clock. For the first full minute, just listen. Don't speak. Close your eyes if it helps. Play those 1 or 2 sentences on a loop and listen hard. But don't just listen for words. Listen for the music. Where does their voice go up? Where does it go down? Which words are louder and longer? Which ones are quick and almost swallowed? You're making a mental map of the sentence's melody and rhythm. Step 3. Whisper shadowing, the silent rehearsal, minutes 2 through 4. This next step is a game changer, and it's one most people skip. For the next 3 minutes, you're going to shadow the audio, but in a whisper. Play the audio, and following just a split second behind, say the words out loud, but with no voice, only air. Why a whisper? Whispering lets you focus 100% on articulation, the exact movements of your lips, teeth, and tongue. You can exaggerate the movements without feeling weird about it. You're isolating the muscle movements, making sure your mouth is forming the right shapes. You'll be amazed at how much you notice when you take your voice out of the equation. Step 4. Full voice shadowing, the performance. Minutes 5 through 8. All right, time to turn up the volume. For the next 4 minutes, shadow the audio with your full voice. Play the sentences and speak along, trying to match the speaker as closely as you can in every way. Keys to this stage. Stay in sync. Try to speak at almost the exact same time as the speaker. Match the emotion. If they speak loudly with energy, you speak loudly with energy. If they're calm, you match that tone. Don't stop. This is the most important rule. If you mess up or fall behind, do not stop. Just jump back in. The goal is to keep the flow. Stopping breaks the rhythm and puts you back in thinking mode. We want to stay in performance mode. Repeat, repeat, repeat. Shadow the same 1 or 2 sentences for the whole 4 minutes. This repetition is what builds muscle memory. Step 5. Record and reflect. Be your own coach. For the final 2 minutes, you're going to be your own coach. Take out your phone and record yourself saying the sentences. First, say them without the audio, just from memory. Then record yourself shadowing the audio one last time.
Now, stop the clock. Your 10-minute workout is done. Listen to the original audio, then listen to your recording. Compare them. What's the biggest difference you hear? Is it a specific vowel? The rhythm? The link between 2 words? Don't be hard on yourself. Be a detective. Your goal is to identify just one thing, one small thing to focus on in your next session. Maybe it's the R sound. Maybe it's how a question should sound. By picking one target, you make your practice focused and so much more effective. That's it. That is your 10-minute trick. It's a focused workout that will do more for your pronunciation than hours of just listening. Do this every day, and your mouth will have no choice but to learn the physical language of English. Once you're comfortable with the 10-minute workout, you can use it to fix your specific pronunciation problems. Shadowing isn't just for general fluency. It's a super precise tool for the exact sounds that give you trouble. Let's try a few practice rounds right now. I'll say a sentence, and I want you to shadow me. I'll leave a short pause for you to repeat it. Copy my pronunciation, rhythm, and intonation as closely as you can. Practice block 1. The famous TH sounds, th and th. The TH sounds are a classic challenge. There's the voiceless th in think, made only with air, and the voiced th in this, where you use your vocal cords. For both, the tip of your tongue gently touches or goes between your front teeth. Let's practice. Listen carefully, then you say it. Try to feel the air flowing over your tongue. Ready? I think that's their third thought. Pause for repetition. Again, focus on where your tongue is. I think that's their third thought. Pause for repetition. Now for the voiced sound. Feel the vibration in your throat. This brother of mine is smoother than the others. Pause for repetition. One more time. Really feel that sound. This brother of mine is smoother than the others. Pause for repetition. Excellent. Focusing on sentences heavy with these sounds gives your mouth a concentrated workout on that specific movement. Practice block 2. The American R sound. R. The American R is another big one. In many languages, the R is a trill or a tap. The American R is different. The work is done by the back of the tongue. The tongue pulls back and bunches up, and the sides of your tongue press against your upper back teeth. The tip of your tongue shouldn't touch anything. Think of a dog growling. Rrr. That's the feeling. Let's try some R-heavy sentences. Ready? The writer drove her bright red car around the corner. Pause for repetition. Focus on pulling your tongue back. Don't let the tip touch anything. Again, the writer drove her bright red car around the corner. Pause for repetition. Here's another heavy R sentence. Notice how the R blends in. I'm really sorry, but the printer is out of order. Pause for repetition. Feel that tension in the back of your tongue. Last time. I'm really sorry, but the printer is out of order. Pause for repetition. Great work. Targeting the R sound like this is the only way to build the strength to make it correctly and automatically. Practice block 3. Vowel differences. Ship versus sheep. Vowel mistakes are subtle, but can cause big misunderstandings. A classic is the short I in ship versus the long E in sheep. The difference is both length and mouth position. For the short I in ship, your mouth is relaxed. For the long E in sheep, your lips spread wide like you're smiling. Let's shadow some pairs to feel the difference. Ready? He lives in this green field. Feel the difference? Lives is short and relaxed. Green and field are long and smiling. Again. He lives in this green field. Let's try another pair Bit versus beat. I just ate a little bit of a beet. Exaggerate the difference. Short and relaxed for bit, long and tense for beat. One more time. I just ate a little bit of a beet. By practicing like this, you move from a general workout to targeted strength training. You can create your own practice for any sound you struggle with. Find sentences full of that sound and put them through the 10-minute workout. This focused practice is the fastest way to conquer your personal pronunciation challenges. If you've made it this far, you are clearly serious about changing your English speaking skills. This lesson on the 10-minute shadowing trick is just the beginning. I create practical lessons just like this every week to give you the tools you need to not just learn English, but to speak it with clarity and confidence. So if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a lesson. And for today's action step, I want you to make a commitment. Go down to the comments right now and tell me, what is the one sound, the th, the r, a vowel, whatever, that you're going to target this week using the 10-minute trick? Declaring it makes it real. I'll be reading through to see what you're all working on. We've covered a lot, so let's bring it back to the main idea. The frustration you feel when you speak English is not about how smart you are. It's a symptom of untrained muscles. Speaking is a physical skill, and like any physical skill, it requires physical practice. You can't think your way to clear pronunciation. You have to train your way there. The 10-minute shadowing workout is your training plan. It's simple, efficient, and powerful. It's built on active listening, silent rehearsal, full-voiced performance, and smart reflection. It hits every part of speech, the sounds, the music, the flow, and the confidence that comes from knowing you're practicing the right way. Remember the steps. Choose your short audio and transcript. Listen first to map the music. Whisper shadow to focus on mouth movements. Shadow with your full voice to build fluency, and don't stop. Record and reflect to find your single target for next time. This isn't a magic pill. It's a workout. And just like any workout, you have to be consistent. 10 minutes every single day. That's all it takes. 10 minutes to slowly, methodically, and permanently close that gap between the English in your head and the English that you speak. The awkwardness you feel today doesn't have to be your reality tomorrow. You have the tool. You have the method. All that's left is to start. That feeling of your mouth being clumsy is just new muscles waking up. Embrace it. That is the feeling of transformation. Thanks for dedicating your time to this today. I'm Victor, and I'm here to help you on your journey. Keep practicing, and I'll see you in the next one.